Welcome into your Go Black and Gold live post-game show. I'm Brooke Kirchhoffer, and the Saints finally get back on track with a 35-29 win over the Detroit Lions for their Week 4 game. Of course, we will have much more coming up right after this. Right now, let's go head over to the podium where head coach Sean Payton is standing by.
Was it a sleepless night for you in light of everything that happened?
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. I'm proud of how we got ready to play despite some of the challenges. And there's 7, 8, 10 of us up at past 1 in the morning, and that's the way it is. Took them a while to get the point of care test here.
Oh, okay. I was curious about that. I knew they probably returned the test pretty quickly. I didn't know you actually had to wait hours to get the test.
3 a.m.
So at what point did you know that you were playing a game today?
The test was done by 12:55, and then we got the results back before 3 a.m. Look, we were playing a game and getting ready to play a game. That's part of the deal this year.
John, did it change your all's protocol this morning at all? Your schedule at all?
No. Look, they came back with a false positive. The concern that we had with the tracer system is, it only showed 3, and we knew it was way more than 3, just based on where he was sitting on the airplane. So we went ahead ourselves and point of care tested 4 or 5 more players that weren't on the tracing system. I think the tracing system has had some inaccuracies, to say the least, but I think we were smart enough to realize who else might have been exposed and went ahead and had those guys tested.
Sean, when you fall in the 14-0 hole right away, what's kind of the most important thing with just not letting that get out of control? It seemed like that long touchdown drive kind of settled things.
Yeah, I think it did. I think, look, we were able to regain kind of time of possession, and I think that helped. We've got to be better defensively on the first drive. It's happened too much this year. Our red zone defense is still something that needs work. I was proud overall of how the team played, considering some of the challenges that they had with some new players in the lineup. So overall, it's a good team win.
Focus wasn't going to be Michael Thomas. I thought he did a really nice job of catching contested passes and just going up and being a big player. He was another guy that got banged up a little bit with some type of I think he just lost a win, and it kind of scared him.
I thought, listen, I agree with you. I thought he was outstanding today. He made some contested plays in real big situations. The third down that he catches in that last drive, I mean, that was significant.
Sean, you talked about time of possession. You all dominated that area. How much was that a point of emphasis for you today?
Look, we wanted a couple things. We had to play this game a little differently relative to where we were at defensively. We were going to be aggressive on their side of the 54th down, so we were playing a 4-down game, if you will. We went for it once. We were going to go for it then just once. I thought we had a good rhythm. I thought Drew was outstanding. Thought we had him guessing for the most of the first half of the game. I thought our guys up front did a really good job at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I don't know what the rushing numbers were, but overall, though, we did a lot of things well that allow you to win a game.
Sean, the job that Patrick Robinson did in this one, and especially the play in the end zone, obviously, how big was that?
Well, tremendous. It's tremendous. I don't know what happened on the series after that, but it's a 7-point play, really. I'm proud of him, proud of PJ. Those guys not getting a lot of work, and then all of a sudden being put in the lineup really well.
Sean, I know that you've talked about penalties, but the first few weeks you only had 4 today, and 2 on Anzalone seemed rather questionable. As far as just maybe cleaning that up and just doing better in that regard. And even if I saw you maybe laugh a little bit there, those penalties that were called on him, if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, look, we just got to keep working on it, keep battling, and it is a point of emphasis. So we are really making it a focal point, and yet sometimes you just, you got to battle through some calls.
Sean, I'm sure you would never want a 1-2 start and all the injuries you had and that COVID testing in the middle of the night, but how valuable is it for a team to experience something like this and prevail through something like this all at once?
Look, it's on the road, it's just one of those games you're proud of your team, and it's this game, it'll test you from an adversity standpoint. I think this year is going to be that way for a lot of us. New England's going to have to travel tomorrow, play a game tomorrow night, and quite honestly, no one really cares. And I mean that in a good way. There's far more other things that are important that we're suffering from than to hear about we were up till 1 or that's just the way it is this season. And so we have to understand that and then just be ready to still get ready to play our best game. And I thought that was important today, and our guys did that.
Sean, if things tightened up on offense to the point where the anticipation in that is where it's supposed to be, and you're having maybe those metal errors with some of the receivers and, Drew trying to hit them and they aren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with all of it. We converted third downs today. Our time of possession was better. We'll just keep working on the execution.
Sean, was there an emphasis today on just kind of throwing the ball downfield? It seemed like y'all were pretty aggressive in that regard. And was that just something you saw before the game?
Well, it's a man-to-man team by nature. And so they do a real good job of playing that coverage, playing outside technique, funneling routes back into the interior of the defense. They'll play some cover 2. They'll change it up on you. And we hit some big plays in the man coverage. Guys got open. Drew made some really good throws. We knew we were going to have to complement the run game. One more question.
Sean, to run it 42 times, that's an awful lot in an NFL game. Obviously, you got to be doing it well to do it that much, right?
Yeah, look, I'm going to say this. I thought the guys up front were outstanding. We had a couple injuries. We moved Easton over to left guard. He played extremely well. The tape's going to show it. Cesar Ruiz, got his first start. We had to make some adjustments there when we lost Ryan and the backs. I mean, we just did a lot of things well. And, it kind of goes hand in hand. I thought the third downs that we didn't convert were the longer distance or less manageable ones, but the ones we did, we put ourselves in a good position. And the one time went for it on fourth down and hit Alvin, I think, on the big play. Thank you.
All right, that was head coach Sean Payton, who was happy to take a few more questions than he has typically been able to take after a post-game win. A lot of things to get to in this one. To start the game, the Saints just came in completely injured. Michael Thomas out, Marcus Davenport, Marshawn Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins, Andres Pete, and Jared Cook, and then adding in Shai Tuttle today. But let's go ahead and head back to the podium where we now have Alvin Kamara. We'll have much more as we break down this game after him.
Yeah, Elvin, how just crazy was the 12 hours before the game and just all the stuff you guys had to kind of deal with last night?
And it was crazy, with all this protocol and stuff like that. Guys were up. I was up at 3 a.m. Just trying to figure out what was going on. Had to get retested. Other guys were up at 3, 4. I mean, Mike was the one that got the false positive. He was up at 5. He was like, man, I ain't go to sleep. I'm like, but nobody cares at the end of the day. We still got to do what we got to do. So, we got past that and came out here and we were able to get a win.
Next question's from Jeff Duncan.
Yeah, Alvin, how big was this win for you all, considering you were 1-2 and you all get down in that hole early, 14-0, and able to fight back despite all the adversity?
This win was big. Just coming off 2 losses. We came in here, we prepared all week, knew what we wanted to do, kind of execute the plan. Of course, those first 2 drives that we it was kind of fluky to me a little bit, but nobody got down on themselves. We stayed focused and we were able to execute and do what we had to do.
Next question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Alvin, 42 rushes today as a team. I guess can you just talk about the importance of just establishing the ground game today?
Yeah, I think we want to do that every week. We got the best O-line, I think, in the league. And, when those guys get going, it's hard to stop them, and I just kept going to Sean like, man, make them stop it, make them stop it. That's just what I'm thinking in my head because, when we get going, when our room is in talking about the running back room, when we get going behind that O-line, it's hard to stop. I think today was a good show.
Next one's from Catherine Terrell.
Hey, do you feel like today was maybe a springboard day for the offense? It felt like Drew was just putting the balls in tight windows and exactly where they needed to be, and everything just seemed to be clicking. I don't know if you got that sense too.
Yeah, just allude back to earlier this week, a question that I got about Drew, and a game like this will shut everybody up, just like I said. So he was on point. I'm never worried about that. It's nothing that I gotta award Drew for, being Drew. I say it every year. It's Drew Brees. It's not much to say. He's as advertised. So he did a good job today. We were able to get our offense going. Sean was on point. We got a big win.
Sorry, that makes me laugh a little bit. Just in light of this whole weekend, that feels like it was weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question's from Mike Triplett.
Alvin, just to follow up on that 42 carries, how much pride do you and I guess Latavius probably both take in? If that's the game plan, we're just going to run it and set the tone that way. How much do you invite that as a runner?
Yeah, I love it. I think my tone and my message to our room every week is, make it run through us, make it flow through us, make the game flow through us. So, make Sean give us the ball. And, when we're getting the ball and we're going and we're moving how we want to move and we're getting positive yardage and the O-line is feeling it, I think it's hard to stop us and it's hard to stop our offense. And then, not to mention Drew on point, putting the balls where they need to be at, Sean on point, calling plays. It's poetry.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Alvin, how big were Emmanuel Sanders and Traquan today, especially with Traquan and those situational catches?
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about the catches they had. They were out there blocking their ass off. And, that's something that they take pride in, I think. Even Emmanuel, Sean was kind of messing with him about, can he block? And, he showed it. He was out there taking pride in that. And then, just going on to what they do, what their job description is, catching the balls, big catches when we need them. They were doing what they had to do. It's kind of, it's what I expect. I'm just out there hyped. I'm happy to see it, but it's what I expect. So it's not a surprise.
Last question's from Nick Underhill.
You just said it felt like poetry. Is this the first time or the most you've had that feeling this year, just as far as the offense being in sync and everything?
Yeah, I think this is the most sync we've been in, but we still got to get better. It's not perfect. It's not where we want to be. It's a stepping stone. We were able to get a win, so that feels good. But it's still so much more that we need to get better at. So much more that we need to clean up. So it's not. I'm happy we got a win, but I'm not satisfied at all. At all. I think there's so much more that we can do. So that's what we're gonna do. Go watch the film, get it cleaned up, do what we got to do, and work and get ready for Monday.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, AK.
Traquan Smith.
All right, we have Traquan Smith here. First question's from Nick Underhill.
So Mike Thomas tweeted during the game that we were supposed to ask you what he told you before the game, and he said you were out there doing it.
Right before the game, Mike texted me. He was like, "Ball out, bro." And I sent him the 100 emoji. So, yeah, that's what he told me before the game. He told me, "Ball out."
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Traquan, obviously the 2 touchdowns are big plays, but that play in the fourth quarter. Did that feel like that one was as pivotal as anything that happened on the field today?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that was probably the biggest play of the day. Definitely, we really needed the first down, and Drew trusted me and threw me the ball, and I came down with it. So by far, that was kind of like the biggest play. It kind of like iced the game for us, to secure the win.
Were you the primary on that, Traquan?
Yes, I definitely was the primary. We worked on it multiple times in practice, so yeah, I was with the primary receiver on that one.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Big game for Emmanuel Sanders today, and you could see the chemistry between him and Drew. You're smiling, so obviously you see it too. What's your take on that? Just them finally getting it together.
Oh man, I'm definitely happy because when they get going, it makes me want to get going and participate and make plays. It's just kind of was frustrating because we didn't have the time like OTAs to get the timing down with Drew, and that's a big thing with Drew. His timing, his anticipation. So once they got going, I knew it was gonna be something special. And just to show you when they're on the same page, like hey, when we all on the same page, look what our offense can do.
Next question's from Rod Walker.
Quan, I'm not sure if you're one of the ones who was up really late last night, but if so, what was just the nerves like, just sitting around waiting and not knowing and all the unknowns involved with that?
I wasn't really up late. I heard about it when I woke up, and then Sean talked about it a little bit in the team meeting, not in the team meeting, but after the game, like guys was up like 1 a.m. or something getting tested. Like I had no idea. I was asleep.
Next question's from Nick Underhill.
Obviously, you guys want Mike out there, but given that you can't change that situation and it is what it is, do you feel like it's created maybe an opportunity that you've taken advantage of to maybe prove yourself and learn more about yourself and show what you can do in this offense?
Yeah, definitely. But I say this about the NFL. It's always the next man up. So you got to be prepared. To prepare to take your opportunity when your opportunity is presented to you. But, it's nothing like having Mike back on the team. The chemistry is way different. The offense is different. And we love to see him back. It's a team game. You can't win the game by yourself. It's a team game. We love to have him back in the offense when it's possible.
Do you feel like you've grown a little bit, though, over these last 4 games?
I felt like there's a lot of weight on my shoulders to, help fill in for Mike. But now, I got really comfortable with it. And I feel that I really know the offense now, going Mike position, which I never played before. So I definitely grew. over the last couple games.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Hey, Traquan, just 2 parts. What happened on that play where you had to leave the field? It looks like it happened way far away from the play. And then Alvin said you and Emmanuel were both like kind of key in the run game tonight. He said you blocked your asses off. So I just wanted to see how important that was for you.
Well, to answer your first question on that play, I had a shallow route, and CJ been preaching to me all this week. Watch the P dropper, watch the linebackers, and I didn't watch the linebacker, and I'm turning my head looking at Drew, and next thing you know, I got lit up. I got the wind knocked out of me, and they thought I broke a rib or something, and I told them I was okay, like I'm fine. I just got the wind knocked out of me, and like this game, it's pretty much about the blocking. You gotta love to catch the ball. You gotta love to block. Just being a receiver. Because every time it's not gonna be your play. So and that's a big thing. CJ preach about an extra Mississippi. Because we got Latavius and Kamara who are going to break tackle. So we gotta stay on our man long enough so they get past him. So that's a big thing in this offense, the blocking.
That wraps it up. Thanks, Traquan.
Thank you, guys.
That was Traquan Smith, one of the players of the game, had 2 touchdowns in the game, finally finding some chemistry between Brees and some of these receivers downfield heading into the game. That was something that was highly ridiculed, and here's why. Here's a stat before the game. This season, heading into the game, Brees was averaging 4.6 air yards per attempt. That was the worst in the NFL this season, and a career low for Brees. Well, how about this? Brees went 19 for 25 through 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 246 yards. I do want to get to what a lot of the coaches and players have been asked about that you just heard about. Late last night, fullback Michael Burton's COVID-19 test came back positive. They found out hours later that it was a false positive, but you can imagine the chaos after he rode on the plane with players and coaches trying to find out who came in contact with him, making sure those guys were retested. And as you heard from Sean Payton, those guys were up until 3 a.m. looking to get this figured out. Michael Burton, who actually got a lot of playing time today, said he was up until 5 a.m. just because he could not sleep based on the stress of am I sick? Did I get other teammates sick? Just something you don't want to deal with and something we are seeing now in 2020. But back to the game, a huge breakout win for this offense. We finally started to see the chemistry between Emmanuel Sanders and Drew Brees, as well as Traquan Smith. And then the running game, Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara continued to just pound away. Murray with an early touchdown, Kamara followed behind that, then Smith with 2 touchdowns, and Murray closing the door with another touchdown to put it 35-29. And in the first quarter, it was a little nerve-wracking. It took the Saints a while to get things started offensively. We saw Drew Brees, the very first play of the game. One of his passes was deflected and caught for an interception. Kind of sucks the wind out of the room for the Saints, but as we saw, they were able to get back in and correct the things that they had been doing in last week's loss and the loss before that to the Raiders. And that brings up their third down efficiency, something they talked about all week with us with the media, that head coach Sean Payton said he was driving home. The Saints were 10 of 14 on third down. Definitely happy to see that. 1 of 1 on fourth down. And then also in time of possession, that's a battle the Saints also wanted to win. They had the ball for 36 minutes to Detroit's 23 minutes. So a huge moral boost win for the Saints, who were extremely depleted heading into the game. We talked about some of those inactives before or after we heard from head coach Sean Payton. PJ Williams and Pat Robinson, cornerbacks, had to come in and start the game with Marshawn Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins getting injured in practice this week. And that was a shock to all of us to see them ruled out on Friday. We didn't really know the extent of their injuries, only being able to see them in the early portions of practice. But PJ Williams and Pat Robinson came in and showed out for this team, as well as Ken Crawley when PJ Williams had to exit the game due to injury. And that's another thing. Ryan Ramczyk also left the game due to injury, as they were already dealing with Andres Pete out. So you have a rookie starting on the line, and then you have Ethan Greenidge come in, and he was able to provide just that fill-in role for the Saints, and that shows the depth they have and that next man up mentality. If I were able to highlight anything in this game, definitely was next man up. We go back to a guy who didn't start this whole season, Patrick Robinson. He comes in and has a huge interception on the goal line, and that set up a Saints scoring drive. And it kind of just seemed like that's the way the flow of this game went. Just big play, offense, defense playing complementary football. As you heard, it was a broken record this week from Drew Brees, wanting to have complementary football, and they did that. Also, as far as penalties, the Saints improved in that area as well. Only 4 penalties, and we're actually going to go right back to the Saints podium. We have another player on the way and want to make sure you don't miss him. We'll have much more in regards to this game and wrapping it up right after this. Well, it looks like I expect that Drew Brees will potentially be the next guy up at the podium, but they were just doing a mic check. We will wait to hear from him. But back to this game, wow. Just when you look at what the Saints were able to do defensively as well, kind of got a little hairy towards the end of the game. But the penalties, a big deal, only having 2 defensive pass interference calls that would stand. A huge improvement compared to what it's been all year for the last 3 weeks, leading the NFL in penalties and penalty yards. They were able to minimize that. When you look at the stats across the board, some of these team stats, the Saints had 228 passing yards to the Lions, 191 passing yards. And when you've got a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, holding him to that is pretty impressive. Then over on the rushing side of the ball, that's where we know the Saints thrive today. Saints rushing for 164 yards behind the backs of Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara. The Lions were held below 100 yards. Not one 100-yard rusher. As a team, were held to just 90 yards, rushing yards in this game. Just an impressive stat. And of course, from that rushing side, Adrian Peterson, the former New Orleans Saint, he had 11 carries for 36 yards and 1 touchdown in this game. Looks like the next player is up, and it will actually be one of the players of the game, Patrick Robertson, who stepped in as a huge cornerback today. Let's go ahead and go to him.
We'll get going. First question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Patrick, can you just kind of describe what you saw on the interception in the end zone? It was obviously a big play in the game.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a scramble play, and I guess the quarterback wanted to throw a jump ball. I came down with it.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Patrick, when did you actually find out you were going to be starting on the outside? And I guess, what did you think of your performance today?
I think I found out Thursday. No, but I was always ready. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Well, what did you think of your performance today, just first glance?
I thought I did all right. From afar, you may think that I did great, but I can't get anything out right now. But yeah, I mean, it was all right.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Patrick, obviously the last couple of years have probably been pretty difficult for you with the injury and then the lack of playing time. How easy is it for you to stay ready, as you said, and wait, a couple of years for a big opportunity and then to deliver like this?
Well, the main part is staying healthy. Just doing my job. Just doing all the things that we practice and talk about. A lot of times I think, as players, we kind of make things like, a lot harder than what we should make it. We do our normal technique. I mean, we should be fine.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
How has it been for you just being back around Malcolm Jenkins? You played with him a lot throughout your career. Is there a level of comfort just having him around?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think we see, a lot of things the same. So that makes it a lot easier for me.
Next question's from Amy Just.
I don't know if you knew what was going on the other side of the ball with the 12 hours before the game. Traquan said he had no idea until today. But just how wild, I guess, is that at some point last night, the game today was uncertain.
I'm not sure what you're asking me. I'm not sure what you're asking.
With Michael Burton's false positive test and kind of throwing everything into chaos last night.
To be honest, I didn't find out until, I guess, maybe 2 hours before the game. So I didn't really know until maybe like 10 o'clock this morning, I would say.
Next question's from Rod Walker.
Here, I wanted to sort of take for this team to settle down after they jumped on you all 14-0 early.
I mean, I would say first quarter, I think we came back. Then we got our feet under us, and we didn't look back for the most part.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
You ready?
All right, Patrick Robinson, a man of few words. And we're actually going to go right back to Emmanuel Sanders, who is now speaking with the media.
First question's from Nick Underhill.
Feels like we ask you this every week, but it keeps getting better. Is this the most comfortable and the most settled in you felt so far in the offense? And do you feel like you're all the way there yet?
Yeah, I think I'm all the way there. Just getting familiar. And like I said, it was never the plays. It was the splits and just all the little details. And so I think I'm starting to get comfortable with just the city of New Orleans and just everything in general. And so, it feels good to go out and get a win today and catch a few passes and get a couple targets. So I'm happy. And but at the same time, I'm looking forward to stacking another win.
Next question's from Luke Johnson.
Emmanuel, it seemed like you guys were pretty aggressive with shots down the field today. Was that something you guys were anticipating being a thing today?
Yeah, I mean, we knew they're coming into the game, they were going to play man. And so we knew that the opportunities are going to be there. So we just had to capitalize on them and exactly what we thought we were going to get, they gave us. And so, like I said, we were able to capitalize on them, and hopefully, we keep capitalizing on them going forward.
Next one's from Amy Just.
It was a late night for some of your teammates. Was it with the testing situation? Was it a late night for you too? Just kind of worried about these things, or did you have no idea?
I didn't have a clue until this morning when I woke up to a couple of text messages of people telling me that the game might not happen, and then they text me back pretty much saying that it was happening. I go to sleep with my phone on do not disturb before a game, so I get all the news the next day. But I'm happy we were able to get the game in, happy we won, and excited about what's to come.
How confusing was that to wake up to those text messages when you had no idea what was going on?
It was definitely confusing at first. I was like reading with one eye open and trying to figure out what was going on, and then I saw the back and forth, and it's crazy because then the ESPN alert popped up on my phone and said that the game will still be going on. It was definitely crazy because when I first read, the first thing I thought about is, dang, I was just eating a dinner with him. I was like, I hope I don't have anything, and then to see that the game was going on, I was happy to see that.
Next one's from Andrew Doak.
Doak, you're muted.
We can go back to Andrew. Next one's from Brett Martell.
Hey, Emmanuel. Just give me your big picture impressions of you go on the road down about 5 or 6 starters. Then some of you guys have to deal with the testing thing until 1 a.m. or so, the anxiety. Some of them were up until 3. And then you come into the game and it's 14-0, 5 minutes into the first quarter. I know it's your first year with this group, but could you give me your thoughts on how the team responded to all that collectively?
Yeah, so I remember one of my mentors used to tell me that the problems that you have, a lot of people are happy that you got those problems. And so it was one of those deals, right? It's like what has happened, with the testing, just with everything. But what can we do about it? The game was set to be played at 1 o'clock, and we had to go out and handle business regardless of what the conditions were. And so that has to be the mindset no matter what. It's one of those situations that you can't control, and the only thing we can do is just line it up and go and play ball. That's what we did.
All right, we're all set. Thanks, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you.
Guys, we're going to have Drew here. Let's fire away in the chat.
That was Emmanuel Sanders, and coming up right now, we have quarterback Drew Brees.
All right, Drew, first question is going to be from Jeff Duncan.
Hey, Drew, can you kind of put into perspective for us how big this win was considering the adversity y'all had with the injuries and the crazy overnight situation with the COVID testing?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going on. Obviously coming off of 2 losses as well, where we didn't play our best football. We knew that we could play a lot better, we could execute a lot better. Coming up here, we lose some starters this week, in practice, and then we kind of had the whole COVID ordeal last night, or a false positive that unfortunately kept a lot of people up late and all that stuff. But man, I think it just says a lot about this team, a lot of all the guys that stepped up and filled those voids, filled those roles, and everybody just persevered and found a way to get a big win today.
Next one's from Luke Johnson.
Drew, just with Michael Thomas and Jared Cook out, it's just curious what your thoughts were on Emmanuel and Traquan today, especially Traquan. Like, he came up with some really big situations.
Yeah, listen, both those guys played outstanding, and really the entire cast. I mean, it takes everybody, and I think we knew that. I think the last 2 weeks, we have not had the level of execution. We haven't had the kind of the tempo and the rhythm that we know that we can have, and I felt like we had a good plan coming into this game. We got some different stuff from the Lions defense than we thought, but we were able to adjust. Man, guys played great. We ran the ball extremely well. O-line did a great job. Latavius Murray ran his tail off, and felt like we were just constantly able to dent the defense, and then with some big plays in the passing game when we got the right matchups, and just all the way around, it was just great execution. A ton of guys did a great job.
Next one's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, Drew, I'm just curious, what did you see on the last third down connection to Traquan, on that I guess that crosser route on the third down in the final drive there?
I didn't see much. I was getting hit. I was on my back, but I felt like there was a place I could get the ball up and over the defender. They dropped a safety down to kind of rob the middle of the field, and felt Traquan, get past his guy and get over the top of that guy, and obviously that was a huge play. Sustained the drive, gave us another set of downs, and then we were able to close it out, with the next first down. But that's a huge play in the game. If you don't make that play, then you're punting the ball to them, and they've got a lot of time left.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Alvin referred to the game as poetry with the way you were playing and the way Sean was calling it. Did you feel like this was the closest to being where you guys want to be as an offense so far through the 4 games?
Yeah. Listen, I felt like it was good tempo. I felt like it was very balanced. I felt like we ran the ball very well, threw the ball well. We were great on third down, 10 of 14. Scored touchdowns in the red zone. So, I think that, I hate that we had 2 drives in the fourth quarter that put our defense back on the field too quickly. I felt like we had an opportunity to get some points there with our drive that extended into the fourth quarter. We ended up punting them down and pinning them down at the 2-yard line, but we really should have gotten points there. And then we had, I think, just a 3-and-out, that next drive, which, and then besides the tipped interception, which is just bad luck, on the first play of the game, or first drive. Other than that, I felt like, listen, it's hard to put together 5 consecutive scoring drives. We were able to do that today. And it was just great execution all the way around. I mean, you name it. We had big plays in the passing game. We ran the ball well. We had a screen or 2. But all in all, I think everybody just did their job, played really well.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue. How important was it for y'all to get on the right footing, especially after the first play didn't exactly go your way?
Well, again, I think it says a lot about our team. They go down the field, they get a touchdown on their first series, and then unfortunately we get the tip ball on the first play, and so they get the ball right back and get. So we're down 14-0, and it hadn't even been 5 minutes expired on the clock. So. I think for us just to remain very calm and poised, and then, again, to offensively put together 5 consecutive drives with touchdowns, 35 points, and defense to play as well as they did. Going into that fourth quarter, it's now 35-14, and We knew we were going to have to close this team out. They're a finish strong type team. They got a great quarterback on the other side who's used to putting together those types of drives. So we knew we had to close it out.
Next one's from Rod Walker.
Hey, Drew, back in week 1, I think it was, you called your performance awful. How does it feel just personally? What does it mean you just sort of get back into your groove like you did today?
Yeah. Well, listen, we've set the bar high, high expectations. There's a reason we won more games over the last 3 years than any other team. It's because we practice, we prepare. We have a great process in how we prepare for games and then how we plan to execute and the level of expectation and the speed at which we play, the variation with which, we can win football games. This is obviously the closest to where I know we can be, thus far this season. We still have a lot of work to do, but I'm excited to get back to work on it.
We're all set. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
I believe that could potentially be the last Saint we hear from, but as Drew Brees mentioned over and over, the 35 unanswered points.
All right, guys, we have Michael Burton.
Let's go ahead and go back to the podium. We've got
going.
Michael Burton now.
First question's from Sean Fazend.
Hey, so how was your night? I know it was a little crazy for you, so you can just kind of describe what happened?
Yeah, it was long. It really was. Not something I was expecting, but, these are the times. And, I'm just glad everything worked out. We won the game. That's the most important thing. No one else, that I came in close contact with had it. And thankfully, obviously, I didn't have it. But just glad we got the win. And but it was a long night for sure.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah. How long did that wait feel, just waiting and waiting for y'all to get the test in the first place and then for you to finally get the results back at whatever time that was?
Yeah, it was late into the morning, maybe 3, 4 a.m., something like that. Just a lot of emotions going on, because you never want to be a distraction. I'm a guy, I pride myself in, putting the team first and, not being that guy that causes, distractions. They had to wake up other guys and test them. I'm sure Coach Payton was up trying to figure some stuff out, the doctors, so it's just that uneasy feeling. You're just kind of waiting, laying in bed, waiting for your phone call to find out, what the diagnosis is and stuff like that. So, but again, glad it was positive or negative and everything worked out well, but definitely.
Next one's from Fletcher Mackel.
Yeah, just to follow up with that. 1, first, did you sleep at all last night? And then 2, were you asymptomatic? And I guess talking about not wanting to let your teammates down and things like that, how surprised were you if you are asymptomatic and just thought this possibly can't be? Did you think initially maybe it is a false positive?
Yeah, didn't sleep much at all. Again, just thinking about my teammates, and the negative effect I could have had on them. It was really difficult. It was tough. And I made it, in my mind, that everything was going to work out. I told the doctor when I got the call, I was like, there's no way, and not that that means anything and not that it can't happen again. Right. But I just said, there's no way, I try to take all the proper precautions that are set in place by our team and the NFLPA, something I take very seriously, to not be that guy to be a distraction. And, again, luckily, it all worked out well. And I just try to go out today and, play the best game I could to help my team win, because I know last night was tough for the guys, coaches, and doctors. And I didn't want to be, the centerpiece of that. And, I'm glad, again, that everything worked out. Everyone's healthy, and that's really the most important thing.
Next one's from Mike Triplett.
Michael, you said there were a lot of emotions. I'm curious, how much did anger enter into the situation at some point in the middle of the night? And when did sort of determination or maybe even laughing at it to kick in and be like, what else could be stacked against us?
Right. Anger. Yeah. You get that initial call and you're just kind of like, how's that possible? Again, and anything is possible. And we live in a very unpredictable world right now with everything going on with COVID. But, just like that feeling that, you let your team down. And I think that's one of the worst feelings you can feel. It's worse than anger. And I kind of had that feeling until I found out that I was negative, because obviously that's really important, but it meant to me that the other guys weren't going to be positive. And that was the most important thing to me, that I didn't affect or get anybody else on my team sick. That to this day is the most important thing for me. And it kind of, when I found out that, then I got determined. And I said, regardless of the distractions, how late, lack of sleep, this, that, and the other, I'm going to go out there and just play the best game I can, to help this team win, and, because we're already kind of banged up and, like you said, kind of backs against the wall, and it was nice to get a win for sure.
Were there any actual conversations like that though between guys, like saying, it feels like nothing else could have gone against you guys this week?
Yeah, just a lot of noise, right? It was just another distraction, and you want to eliminate distractions as best you can, and that's something that this team and this culture has done so well for such a long time, and I'm not surprised that we went out there and won the game, and also got down, a little bit early, and we were able to come, fight, and claw back and win the football game. And again, that's the most important thing. But it's a testament to the type of guys that are in this locker room, the culture that is here, that the coaches put together, that the personnel put together, the GM. It's an amazing place that can overcome really anything with the backs against the wall. And, just a really special group.
All right, we're all set. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we're pretty tight for time. We've got Cam Jordan for 3 or 4 questions, and we got to get the bus. Thank you. Back up, baby, back up. So
That's what I'm saying. They won't even see it all.
All right, Cam. First question is going to be from Amy Just.
You broke through today. First sack of the season. How did that feel, getting that out of the way and bringing Stafford down?
We have a saying around the D line. The sacks, when they come in bunches. I ended up getting one. Trey got one. David Onyemata got one. Love the way the defensive line was really going after.
Next one's from Nick Underhill.
Cam, how were you guys able to settle down after the way the game started and lock it and kind of get back on track?
Yeah, you look up in the first quarter, they're up by 14. We just got to, get back to our fundamentals, get back to our foundation, and then how we ride as a defense. We got an interception late to return fire, and honestly, I think we really started putting pressure on him. He had to get the ball out faster than I'm sure that he wanted. There was a couple errant throws, and other than that, I think we really had a plan to get after him. We knew that he wanted to escape through the B gap, and after his first initial run, we sort of took control of all that.
Take it. Take it. Take it.
I finally got one. Okay. Yep.
Next one's from Amy Just.
With all the adversity that was facing y'all on both sides of the field, 6 starters out, and then the COVID scare last night that kept some people up till 5 a.m., how important was getting this win today, especially since you came in with 2 straight losses too?
Man, the object of this week was overcome adversity. We had all types of starters going down. We go into a game without your 2 starting corners. The offensive lineman goes down in the game. Our star wide receiver, Mike T. I feel like we built this roster to where, we have the next man up mentality. And at the same time, we had guys who, hadn't even been on the team a week. You bring in King Crawley, he comes in and plays. This is something that you can sort of be proud of, the effort that put forth, but at the same time, we still got a lot to clean up.
Next one's from Amy Just.
Yeah, significantly less penalties today. How good was that to see?
That's amazing to clean up. We still had a couple that we'd love to play a perfect game. We got another week, another opportunity to get better from them.
All set. Thank you, Cam.
Okay, perfect.
All right, that's going to do it from player interviews. You can always expect to get honesty, right, from Cam Jordan, who finally gets his first sack of the season in week 4. Not just a shock to us, but also a shock to him. He wasn't the only one that got in on the sack party. Trey Hendrickson and David Onyemata also record their own sack, sacking Matthew Stafford 3 times as a team in this win. As far as the secondary goes, as Cam Jordan just mentioned, that was something they were looking to clean up as far as penalties as well. The secondary not only stepped up as far as managing penalties and making sure they kept it clean and didn't make mistakes out there, they also brought it to the table when it came to tackles. Marcus Williams with 5 solo tackles, CJ Gardner-Johnson with 5 solo, Malcolm Jenkins with 5 solo, and then Patrick Robinson coming in and having to start, as well as PJ Williams with Marshawn Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins ruled out of the game this week. Another surprise and gut check to the Saints. And when you talk about injuries, there wasn't just some this week in practice, but also sustained in the game. We are going to have to keep our eyes on Ryan Ramczyk, who came out with a concussion, as well as Deontay Harris. We don't have the full details as to why Deontay Harris went to the locker room. But speaking of wide receivers, let's go ahead and go back to Emmanuel Sanders in the game he had. We've been waiting to see that chemistry between Sanders and Brees, and we finally got to see a little bit of that, as Emmanuel Sanders had 6 receptions for 93 yards. And then Traquan Smith also the go-to 1-2s in this game. Traquan with 4 receptions, 54 yards, doesn't sound like a lot, but he got into the end zone twice in this game. A nod from Michael Thomas as well, talking about Traquan, just his 3rd year in the NFL, really showing up in this game. And as Drew Brees mentioned over and over, their scoring drives, they had 5 consecutive scoring drives. Of their 9 drives, 5 were scoring, so that means Thomas Morstead only had to punt twice in this game. A light day for him, which I'm sure he was grateful for, but just a huge win for the Saints. You heard them talk to the media a lot, too, about the late night they had with the false positive for Michael Burton. Can't imagine just the mindset that's going on for the Saints as they're trying to prepare for a game, and it's 3 in the morning, and they're trying to get this thing figured out. But as we saw, a little bit of a struggle in the first quarter defensively, and then unleash the firepower on offense that we have been looking for. Drew Brees finally answering some of the, I guess you could call it, some hate from the media and also from fans, as he was able to answer and finally have himself a really big game. He finished the game with 246 passing yards, 19 completed passes of the 25 through 1 interception. He didn't exit the game cleanly. He was sacked twice, but he will have an even tougher task as they host the Los Angeles Chargers coming up this Monday night in the Superdome. So the Saints get back on track, 2-2, as they open up another Monday night game hosting the Chargers, who just lost to the Tampa Bay Bucks today. That's going to do it for our Go Black and Gold post-game show. Be sure to tune in with us all week as we preview the next game on our website and on our app at brproud.com. That's going to do it for us here. I'm Brooke Kirchhofer. Have a good night.